Okay, trying this again. Had a couple hiccups, some technical difficulties, but we're back now. I got rid of the last video because I was kind of just mumbling and had a little bit of a hiccup there. But um, where we left off, I had just read the problem, just copied the problem input over, and now it's time to get going with solution.rb. One thing I realized I was doing, I was trying to do some tests, but without creating different, um, trying to do everything in one file, which looking at this, I don't know if that's going to work anymore. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is create bingo board.rb, and let's try bingo. I should probably do it camel case or snake case. Bingo board spec.rb, just to make this look the same. Okay, so for bingo board spec, we're going to be doing a couple things here. So let's require our spec, require relative slash bingo board, and describe bingo board do, and let's see what happens. R spec bingo R spec bingo board spec.rb, bingo board spec.rb. Okay. Let's see. For some reason that wants to autocomplete to the spec folder, so let's give it what it wants, and let's see if we get that same failure. Cool. And here we want to do relative dot dot slash bingo board. Do I need .rb? Yeah, let's just give it the class and see. Cool. Well, not cool, but the if there are no tests, that shouldn't be green. But let's see here. Let's go. So we will initialize a board with some numbers here. Let's do for the so board will take 1 2 3 4 5 size board string, and then we're going to need to store that in a two-dimensional array. And let's grab the one that completes, just because we know we don't have to think through what numbers we're going to need here, but let's see if I can remember this in live, which isn't necessarily super interesting, but so there's no commas, there's space separated, and enter. So 14, 21. Well, it's probably easiest to do this. just copy them over. Let's see, that, enter. It is not easier to do it this way. Maybe if I do this. Just to make it easier to read. 14, 21, 17, 24, 4. 10, 16, 15, 9, 19, 18, 8, 23, 26, 20, 22, 11, 13, 6, 5, and 2, 0, 12, 3, 7. Okay. So for this first set of tests, let's say we need to do a couple things here. We need to look at this one. It needs to receive a number. What do we call that? Let's say mark. It's got a mark number method. Okay, so describe instance method of mark number, and let's say, okay, so it context when there is, when the number doesn't exist, the number is not on the board. Context when the number is on the board. And so when it's not on the board, it should do nothing. I don't know if it's going to return anything, but we do want to be able to query. So we're going to actually need another method here of we're going to need to be able to query the board, get the marked numbers. Do we want to check? How do we want to query the numbers? So if we mark number 7, we want to let's just say it returns true or returns false. And when the number is on the board, it returns true. Okay, and so if we do test board equals bingo board.new board string, and let's do expect test board.mark number. Let's see what number's not on there. 99. To be falsy. Don't know what it's going to end up being, but and then test board, let's say, is falsy and is truthy. Test board equals bingo board.new board string expect test board.mark number 7 to be truthy. Okay, that seems like a good start. We're going to be forced to model the board, look through the board, and do something to it. And then we'll add more after that. Cool. Cool. Undefined method mark number. Mark number. Fails. Truthy value. Okay. And the simple way is to just make it true, but that's not that interesting. So what we've got is now a board of the instance variable board. Maybe it's not a... It might actually be easier to make it a hash with indices. Let's try going that route and see what happens. Board equals that. Board string dot split split on new line dot each with index do line, and then line and column, and then line dot split on space dot each with index do number and row, and then we do at board sub array equals number dot. It's actually going to have... I'm getting ahead of myself here. I guess we can just start with number and expand that once we start having more tests. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself with the implementation. Row and column. So 0, 0, do 1. So that's actually, I got these backwards. And so this is row column equals number dot 2i, and then what we can do is, well, we can make this test be really simple. At board dot values dot contains number. I'm pretty sure that's... All right, it's include. Yeah, okay. Include number, and the tests should both pass, but that's not that interesting. So to make it more interesting, we're going to need another method here of let's see. we're probably going to need to do something like if a number is marked at a specific position. So marked at, and what that does is when the number is marked at, when the number at the given location is marked, and context, when the number at the given location is not marked. Okay. It is falsy, and it is truthy. So if the number at the given location is not marked, test board. That and then we call test board.mark number 99, and then we would expect, or I guess we don't even actually need to mark a number for this test. We just want to call test board dot marked at, and let's say 0, 0. Let's see. You'd expect that to pass pretty easily. Board equals bingo board dot new board string, and then we want to mark one, test board dot mark number 7, and then we expect test board dot marked at to be truthy. Okay, so 7 is at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's at 4, 4. And we want it to be truthy. Is that, are there 5 numbers in each row on the input too? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, okay. So we've got that, we've got marked at. I guess I don't necessarily need to do this. I know there's no marked at, and coordinates. And then what we want to do is we just want to check board sub coordinates, and what we probably want to do is, I was going to jump ahead to earlier, but what we probably want to do is store the whether it's marked or not, and to do that, 2 different ways. It might be easier to start out with. We'll see where this goes, but board sub coordinates sub 1. So we're going to do an array where it's first element is the number, second element is a true or false of whether it's marked or not. Okay, so let's see what we've got. It's going to be a falsy value, and so 0, 0 is falsy, but it got 1 because it's a number. So if we go here and change this to false, so all the numbers are unmarked when we start, we got that, but we've got 2 new failures. Okay, so we need to change this mark number to values are going to be an array now, and we want to get the first element, or we want to get the first element of that array. So the values of that, get the first element, and that should make one of our test pass. Yes, but we still have this other one because we're not marking it as true or false. So what we need to do now is if board.values.map first include number, we need to get to that number. Maybe there's a better way to do mark number in that case. I think there is. It's let's see. I can probably do board.values.each do value, and value sub 1 equals true if value sub 0 equal number. It's easier to have an object or a hash, but this seems to be doing the job right now, and not too many options, nothing to choose from, but we'll see. We'll see if it becomes too complicated and can break that out into an object later. So we go through each of the values. I'm not sure if it's actually going to return false. I might have need to give a falsy value if the number isn't there. Let's see. These seem small enough. I can do something inefficient because we're only dealing with 25 numbers. But to keep the code simpler, I can do return false unless the number's included, and then if it is, do the loop through again to mark it, and we're good. Okay, so now we have a way to mark the numbers. We have a way to check if they're marked, and then what we want to do is marking them, checking if they're marked, and then we need to calculate the final score. And so sum of all unmarked numbers. I guess we want to check if it's a win. So let's see here. Yeah, let's do that first. Let's say board. Let's see. The third board wins because it. Trying to find a good name to check. Let's say winning. Let's go ahead and make this test here. Describe winning and context if the board is a winning board, and context if the board is not a winning board. And so there's actually going to be two situations where it can be a winning board. It's a context if the board horizontally and vertically, and this, if it's not a winning board, it is falsy. Test board equals bingo board.new board string, expect test board.winning falsy. Okay, so I've got that situation taken care of, and so it is truthy. Same thing below, and let's go ahead and board equals bingo board dot new board string, and we can copy that over, and test board dot mark number 14 21 17 24 4 21 24 and 4, and expect test board dot winning to be truthy, and then let's do that again for the vertical win. Truthy, and let's see. Let's do the middle row. So 17, 15, 23, 13, 12. Okay, so both of those should both pass because it's horizontal and vertical, and then we will know if the board's winning or not. Okay. So I was thinking I might need to keep track of the winning number, but I think whatever I do in solution RB will have that number, and we'll just create another method after this of sum of all unmarked numbers, and then the board can return that. We'll do the calculation outside of it. But jumping ahead, we've got, oops, to be truthy. Okay, cool. So we're still passing there, and now we got truthy value, truthy value. So what do we want to do? Board, row, column, board string. So I guess we know that there's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We know the size of the board, so we don't need that to be generic. So all I need to do is check if each of those numbers horizontally and vertically. Okay, so 0 to 5, or 0 to 5 that way, I think we'll, or 0 to 4. What is that? What is the syntax for that? Yeah, it's definitely not the syntax, but I think it's maybe parentheses. Yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And that's 2 dots. Each do row, or yeah, row first, and then 0, 4 dot each do column. Okay, so for each row, we're gonna check if so each of these iterations, it'll be horizontal, let's see if we go through each row, and then in each column, we're getting, let's see, if we're just doing horizontally, we're gonna do maybe we need to simplify this a little bit. Somebody is winning horizontally or winning vertically. And so if we're doing it horizontally, we want to check each of the so if we're winning horizontally, we're checking each column. So for each column, we want to check if we're going to keep the column constant, or going to keep the row the same throughout each of the columns. Right, so we'll do first iteration, it's 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, right? And if no, I don't need to do that. I just need to do each row and then do it would be easier if I had the board API a little bit different, huh? So board is a so for each row I want to do got board sub row let's see. What's a way to get through this? I've for some reason blocked on how to access this with the data structure I've given myself. So we want to do that row and column, but we want to change. We only want to change column each time through. I want to get a list of all of the board values where row is 0 in each of the columns. Maybe we don't iterate through it. Let's see what data comes out here. So what we want is 0, and actually I can change this. It'd be better to visualize. So that we do 1 or 0 or 5. So we know that there's going to be 5. We do this 1, 2, 3, 4, and for some reason it seems like it should work, but I will need to get all of them at the same time. So actually what I want to do is a 0 for not an each, a map column, and do at board sub row sub column. And I don't care about the number, all I care about is the value. So we do 1, which is whether it's true or false, and true, and then we do that the other way with columns. 0 4 dot map row board sub row sub column. Did I get that back? I got that right. Okay. Sub 1 dot all true, and let's see. No. Okay. Well, that's fun. What did we do wrong here? Wrong number of arguments given to expected 1. Bingo board 31. No, I need to actually return something. Return true if all true, and return true if all true. Okay. Still given to expected 1. 31. Which line is given to parameters here? Let's say row results equals that, and return true if row results. Still line 31. Oh, I probably need to make an array, right? Nope. Oh, right. This actually needs to be an array element, not two parameters. So I can actually go back to what I had before and change that. It definitely helps to figure out where the error is if there's an error, and not just try guessing. But I did find a expected falsy value got 0 to 4. If the board is not a winning board, there's probably a better way to do this, but that's going to get that to pass. And now we know if a board's winning, we know if we can check if it's marked. And now all we have left is a method for unmarked numbers sum, and let's say it sums up all the unmarked numbers on the board. Okay, so test board bingo board.new board string. Let's mark all the numbers that we have in this test, and we can cut some time out. Test expect test board dot unmarked numbers sum. That's what I'm gonna call it. Yep. 2 equal 188. And if unmarked numbers sum, it's gonna fail. Let's do let's mark the numbers we need to mark. 14, 21, 17, 24, 4, 9, 23, 11, 5, 2, 0, 7. 21, 17, 24, 4, 9, 23, 11, 5, 5. I keep doing the wrong. 2, 0, 7. Let's double check that. 14, 21, 17, 24, 4, 9, 23, 11, 5, 2, 0, 7. And we want that to equal 188. Still nothing. This one's a little bit simpler, but we want to do is add board.values dot, let's say unmarked values equals board.values.select value sub 1 false, and then we do unmarked values.sum value sub 0. That should give us the sum. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we can do, the board can do all of the things that are being asked of it, I think. Let's see what happens when we start working through the solution here. So I should copy this over to a file as well for test input, because we're just going to parse it in here rather than break it apart. Test input. Let's copy it. Okay, copied. Right. Solution. Okay, so we do problem, let's say input equals file.open /test input .read. Okay, let's say let's break this out a little bit more to make it easier to swap in and out when we're ready to try to solve the problem. Input file equals test input file equals /problem input, and here input file. And so now we've got two things here. So we've got what is it called? Numbers, drawn numbers, and board strings equals input. So I wonder if I can do that. That would be really neat if I can create an array. Let's see what happens if I do equals 4, and then first rest equals a dot split on a comma. First rest? No, damn. Okay. So if I was going to split on a new line, I need to handle all the boards. I'm sure there's an easier way to do that, huh? But nothing is coming to mind, and I don't want to sit here silently as I think. So I think I might just do it by hand rather than trying to figure out some fancy way to do it. Oh, it's actually worse than that, because the first line is it's a bunch of comma separated numbers, and then there's nothing, and then there's 5 rows, nothing. Let's see what this input file looks like. Nothing. Okay, so we've got, well, let's break out what we need. We've got called or drawn numbers equals an array, and we've got board strings, which is also an array. I wonder if I split on, if I can split on an empty line? Is that possible? Or I guess maybe it's not an empty line, it's just 2 new lines? Can I split on 2 new lines? Let's see what happens if it splits on, comment out that, and I wonder if I have that installed. Gem install pry. So pry is going to let me get in there and interact with the code. And kind of what I was doing with IRB, and try out a couple ideas. Let's see. Okay, so we've got input, it's that, and there's 2 new lines. Okay, so I can split pretty easily and get input.split on new line. Right, and then that gives me that and the board strings. Cool. That makes that a lot easier. Okay, so let's say split input equals input.split new line. And so draw numbers equals split input.split on comma. That's not a comma. Comma dot map to I. So now we've got a bunch of integers in a list. We've got board strings, which is b equals a of 1 to -1. A b. Yep. Okay, so board strings equals split input from 1 to -1. And so now we've got these 2, and now all we need is boards. Boards equals board strings dot map bs require relative / bingo board.rb bingo board.new board string. And so now we've got all the boards. And then it's just a matter of what's a simple way to do this? I want to loop through all of the drawn numbers until I have a winning board, and then I want to do the calculation. So let's see. I can just loop through the drawn numbers like this. Each do drawn number, and then boards dot map board dot mark number drawn number, and then if boards dot any board dot winning, or maybe, well, again, not that many. I can do something pretty inefficient for now. Not something I'm going to be able to do a few days from now, but I can write much simpler, well, more straightforward code that's maybe a little bit more readable, even if it's going to do a couple extra loops. So if there are any winning boards, then I want to get the winning board equals boards.select board.winning, and I want to output the winning board dot unmarked numbers sum times drawn number and break. I think that should work. Let's see it in action. See if I screwed anything up. Undefined method split for array. Yeah, I need to check that first one, the first element. Okay, initialize undefined method split for, ooh, there's another backslash in there. Why is that? Oh, I didn't finish this thought here. Board strings equals split input. Yeah, that's okay. Undefined method unmarked numbers sum for board. And so first, oh, that's interesting. That's not what I was expecting. I do see 4512, but maybe I need to, or yeah. Okay, so the and break didn't, I was trying to get fancy, but we've got the value there and the value we're expecting. And so now let's see if we switch the inputs. 89001 That's the right answer. Okay, great. 1 gold star. And let's see what part 2. Let's see if the investment on building out that board object actually is going to pay off. Part 2. On the other hand, it might be wise to try a different strategy. Let the giant squid win. You aren't sure how many bingo boards a giant squid could play at once, so rather than waste time counting its arms, the safe thing to do is figure out which board will win last and choose that one. That way, no matter which board it picks, it will win for sure. In the above example, the second board is the last to win, which happens after 13 is eventually called and its middle column is completely marked. If you were to keep playing until this point, the second board would have a sum of unmarked numbers equal to 148 for a final score of 148 times 13, 1,924. Figure out which board will win last. Once it wins, what would its final score be? Okay, yeah, so turns out that the work building out that board class did come in handy because we're not actually going to need to change any of it. We actually just need to change the methods we call on it. And let's change this to first winning board. I don't know what first winning board value, or and we'll do something pretty similar here. And we do last winning board score. And what we want to do is, so we would go through all the drawn numbers. We want to, that's going to be the last thing we do. And we want to remove the winning board from the boards list. Let's change this to losing. Just so we're not stepping on our own toes. Boards 2, boards 2, boards. Boards 1 for first star, and then boards 2 for second star. Because once we've run through that first process, they're all going to be marked, but we want to start with them unmarked. So we go through it again. Board, mark number, and then if any of the boards are winning, we want to, let's say boards 2 dot reject board dot winning. So let's just remove it from that list, and then we do we can't remove it. Can't remove it, huh? We actually we can remove any of the winning boards until there's one, and then I guess I can remove it unless boards 2 dot length is 1. Right, until they're winning. Once boards dot length is 1. Actually, if boards 2 dot length is equal to 1, then I can put that break else boards 2 dot reject board dot winning. I'm pretty sure Name of that method is reject. I guess we'll find out. Undefined method winning board for main object. I actually don't need to know the winning board. I just need to know boards 2 sub 0 because there's only one in there. 7296. See if that's right. That is right. Whew, that was a little bit longer than yesterday. I did yesterday in about an hour. This one about an hour and 20 minutes with a little hiccup in the beginning, but it was cool to take the time, get RSpec set up, and build out a class, build out an interface that ended up coming in handy. The second part was pretty easy since we already had all the functionality that we expected from a board. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with if you watched all the way through. I will see you tomorrow and kick off day 5. Bye.